And one of the first things we're going to talk about is a new voting initiative. So when you register to get your ID, you're also going to register to vote. Some states do this, some don't. I think they're trying to enforce this nationally, and it's creating a big divide amongst Republicans and Democrats. The Democrats are for it; they think it's great, and Republicans are saying might lead to fraud, and if it really matters to you, you should make it a point to register to vote. What are your thoughts, Maria? And then we'll go to Dan about what he thinks.
Well, I guess it's a step forward by automatically enrolling these people into voting, but the fact still remains there's over 500,000 people in the United States who do not have ID and do not have a license or a state ID. So we need to figure out how we're going to get that other 500,000, which I think New York City is doing very well with that new ID that they can just go out and get.
The city ID.
The city ID, that is a great step forward.
And somebody told me recently that it's not illegal to not. I thought it was illegal to have. If you don't have ID, I thought that was illegal.
Well, from what I hear, if a cop, from what I know, if you're walking in the street and you don't have ID, a cop can detain you to find out who you are and stuff. So I don't think it would be smart to walk without ID.
Right. So you should always have it. You're gonna always need to get ID.
You should, but the fact still remains that there's about 500,000 people who don't have that ID.
Do you agree or do you disagree with when you register to get your driver's license or your? I don't have a driver's license.
I think it's a great step forward, but we still have a long way to go.
Do you think it's going to help get this initiative to get people to vote because they don't have to?
Yeah, of course.
Why do you think so?
Well, because they're doing it. It's a one-stop shop. They're doing both register for a driver's license and for voting, and they may not do it. You know, everyone wants to drive, but not everyone wants to vote. You know, because they just can't be bothered.
Right.
So it just encourages people to vote.
Right, because they have one less step.
To take that they don't have. They could just go vote.
There was a senator from Albany. I'll put his name on the bottom here. I don't remember it on top of my head, but said something along the lines like it's a privilege. Well, he said, okay, if it's important for you to vote, you should make an effort to do it, and it's a privilege to vote. And if you don't put the effort, then you don't get it. And I was just like, okay, from what I know, I thought voting was a right. I don't think it was a privilege. When you commit a crime, it does get taken away, but you lose the right, but you don't lose the privilege. I feel like Republicans are trying to. They don't want this to pass because it's a way to have control.
Well, it benefits the Republicans not to have us voting because they're going to go out and vote, and they depend on us not to go out and vote. Honestly, that's what is.
And if everyone voted who don't vote, Republicans are never going to get in because everyone's going to vote for Democrats.
I would think more. Do we have more in this country? I would think you have more Democrats than Republicans.
Well, like they say, no vote is a vote for a Republican.
Yeah.
That's what they say by not voting because they're going to go out and vote. They make sure they go out and vote.
Let's take this beyond the Bronx. In Australia, is voting?
In Australia, if you do not, everyone's registered to vote once you turn 18. If you don't vote,
whether you have ID or not,
if you don't vote, you get fined. So if you don't vote in local, state, and federal elections, you get fined $50.
Oh wow!
So you get a much bigger turnout of 95% of the population.
If we could fine people for not having health insurance, why can't we fine people for not voting?
Wow, that's a big.
But then it goes against. It could people argue that it's undemocratic. I should choose if I want to vote or not.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see that end.
But you get a much wider spectrum of what people really want because everyone from each walk of life is voting.
Are you guys fined for not having health care? No, everybody has health care in Australia.
So we have public health care, but we also have private. You're not fined, but you are charged if you don't get it by the time you're 30 or whatever. Your premiums are higher.
See, here we get fined. Every year that you go, when you fill out your taxes, if you don't have health care, you're fined for not having health care. So if we could fine people for not having health care, then maybe I would agree more with finding people for not voting than finding people for not having health care.
Like that's another initiative.
I'm more okay with them finding people for not voting.
Yeah, I think people will get their ass up and vote.
Yeah, it kind of forces people to have
and you get everyone. So it's not just the the rich or the
Right,
educated
right.
who are voting. Everyone's voting.
Right, and I feel like that's another. I think people of a different social status who are working and they just don't really. They don't get it. They don't understand
But
it.
also too here, your elections are during the week and stuff.
Yes, the weekend,
So,
Tuesdays.
Yeah. In Australia, it's always a Saturday afternoon when people aren't working. So
I think
It's a
also
tactic to
election
keep
day
people-
should become a national holiday. They are that's the discussion. They're trying to make it a national holiday, but of course the Republicans are trying not to make that happen.
Yeah,
So.
Well, that's another.